Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave, episode 67. So I've talked a lot about video games in the, bunch of my videos, the last few videos actually I've done. And I've talked about different cartridges and things of that nature. And one of the ones that I brought up last time was this guy, this double ender. Because I wanted to play this Chuck Norris game, I don't know if this works yet. I mean, I've had this for a while. A friend gave it to me a long time ago. And I don't even know if I ever actually played it. But the one thing I did mention was I would have to clean it and test it and see if it works. And so I thought, I wonder how many people actually do spend the time to clean and test their video games every once in a while, especially if you're someone who sells them. Like I sold a few. I don't really get into selling video games too much because I pretty much hoard them. But I've sold a couple here and there. And that was one of the things that I had to make sure I did properly was clean it and test it. But I'm more talking about, say you go to the flea market and you pick up something like this combat cart. Everybody loves combat. And then you get home and you're like, I can't wait to play my combat. And so you stick it in your Atari and then you start playing. Well, what just happened now is this thing has been sitting in a flea market. It's got dust in there. Who knows who had it before you? How dirty their system was, they could have been kicking it around the house. You don't know. And what you've just gone and done is you've just inserted all that crap into your Atari. And what now happens is you've got two things that are going to cause problems. You're going to have a dirty cartridge and you're going to have a dirty Atari. And I'm using Atari as an example because this will fit pretty much with any system that requires a cartridge. They're all pretty much the same. They all use the same kind of technology, the pins and all that stuff. And we all know the notorious Nintendo cartridge where everybody was like blowing on it to get it to work, slamming it into the Nintendo. And I think it's pretty much with most cartridges. And it's kind of interesting as I remember reading articles about people saying, the whole blowing on a Nintendo thing didn't really work. It's just the repeated pulling it in and out and, that type of thing, right? So what I wanted to get around to was just talk about cleaning for a minute, because I know I've had a few people ask me how do I clean it, and like I said, I did sell a couple of Atari cartridges, and one of the buyers, they bought it was Pitfall 2 for the Atari, and they couldn't get it to work, and they said it's not working, and I thought, well, that's strange because I know I cleaned it, I know I tested it, I played it just fine, that's weird. And so he also said, I also bought another game from another buyer, for another seller, and that game didn't work either. And I'm like, well, did you clean your Atari? And he's like, no, how do I do that? And so I kind of gave him a little tutorial. It was very simple. But he was just like, oh, great, thanks. And it kind of got me thinking, I know there's probably tons of videos out there. But I thought, why don't I do one too? Could always use more. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show how I clean my cartridges, and specifically this one, this double ender guy, because it's pretty dirty and I haven't played it. So, the first thing we're going to do is figure out what we need to clean these things with. So the first thing I always jump to is the rubbing alcohol. This is just a generic brand, nothing special, but it's rubbing alcohol. It's what, 70%? Yeah, 70%. And so that's one of the first things that I usually grab. Compressed air. I know if you have a lot of electronics, you probably have this kicking around somewhere. This is more for getting all that really gritty dust that could be collected in there, or some of the crap that's in those tight spaces, and for the system itself when you got to clean the system, because you want to get that crud out of there. And then the other part is contact cleaner. This is contact and head cleaner. So you find this stuff in your typical electronics store. In Canada here we have the Source, but you can also go to Best Buy or other places like that. And then in the States, I think you guys might still have Radio Shack. I'm not sure. But anywhere where you would find electronic parts or electronics, you'd find this contact cleaner. And this is good because sometimes it's not dust that's the problem, it's that corrosion, or it's like this kind of green goo that kind of collects on top of the the board itself, and then the contact cleaner will actually, help get that off. Also, I've used this for the actual system itself, because where the cartridge slot is, just to get that crud out of there, because like alcohol is not always going to do the trick. And there's ways of doing that. So let's start with a cartridge. Oh, sorry. The other thing we need is cotton swabs. I'm using Q-tips here. Any cotton swab will do. They're just the right size to get into that little area in the cartridge. So just getting in there. So usually what I do is, there's always that dust in there first. There's always that, crap that you just want to like kind of run the Q-tip up and down all around and kind of get that crap out. But also dip it into the rubbing alcohol, which I'm going to do now. Just get it nice and swabby. And I always do the outer rim first, because that's where most of the dust is sitting. So as you can see, I'm just cleaning in there. Just going to go all the way around on the inside. And probably what's going to happen when I pull this out, the Q-tip head is going to be really gross and brown and disgusting. And yeah, you can see right there that all that crud and dust and stuff. And that might just be it. I mean, that might be all this takes to get this guy up and running again. And if that doesn't work, you can try, once you let it dry a bit, which I usually do, just let it dry a bit, or take the other side and just do a final swabbing. Try not to let the Q-tip catch on the areas in there, because then you're going to get Q-tip crap in there. You're just going to run into the same problem. You can see that this is pretty nasty. Like this Q-tip's coming out pretty gross. You might even have to do it a couple times. And once that's done, this one kind of fell apart there. Take another Q-tip. Just make sure I get it all out. And once that's done, I can test it. And if it doesn't work, then I can try the contact cleaner. And it's just kind of the same idea. I would just take the contact cleaner. Am I even cleaning the right side? I don't even know. I'm cleaning one side. So I'd take the contact cleaner and just kind of spritz it onto the chip a bit, onto the board itself, and just start to rub with the Q-tip back and forth. If I can show you, just a back and forth motion. And that'll help get the crud off as well. And I just do that a couple of times and make sure I get the whole inside, do all the innards. And you can pretty much do this with any cartridge. I mean, you can do it with a Nintendo, a Sega, anything you have access to the actual board inside. It'll work. I mean, there we go. And once that's done, then we would just slide it into our Atari and see what happens. Now, the actual Atari itself is another thing altogether, or the system. But I found that the best way to clean that would be doing exactly what I just did there, putting the alcohol, putting the cleaner on, and then just go to the system and then drop it into the cartridge slot and then pull it out, and do that a couple of times. And for the final one, I'll just put it in and maybe just leave it there for about 10 minutes, just to let it sit and dry up and stuff. And I found that usually works for me. You can get a little bit more intense. You can, like I've seen other people's videos where they take like a J-cloth or some kind of cloth or something, really light material, and you can take like a credit card and you can spray the cloth with the cleaner, and then use the credit card to kind of get in there and kind of clean in. Now, I would think you would have to do that if it was really, really bad. Like if you had your Atari sitting in the attic or something and it didn't have a cartridge in the slot, you might need to do it then. But yeah, usually it doesn't require too much. And if you're still not getting there and you've tried the cleaners and you tried this and you're flicking it on and you're getting a blank screen, then if it's either going to be the cartridge itself, it's probably done, or you actually have an internal problem with the system. And that was what I found out. I had a 4-switch Atari, and I tried cleaning the hell out of it, and nothing was working. And then I realized, okay, something is definitely wrong internally, because I cannot clean. I've cleaned the cartridges, I cleaned the cartridge slot, got nowhere with it, and was just like, there's something wrong internally. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to go and pop this in. I'll be right back. Let's put it in to the Atari. Start the TV. Hey! We have success. Of course, I didn't show you because I'll probably be doing that on my next video. Anyways, yeah, so that was a nice little cleaning. I mean, it wasn't too bad. And just another trick I want to show you, because with Atari games, they have this plastic case. Well, some of the older ones do. If you could see that, you can't see the board. So what you have to do is you have to take a screwdriver, a little flathead screwdriver, and stick it into that little first hole in the side there. Once you do that, the spring releases and you get access to the board. It's a little weird to have to clean it this way, because you kind of have to, if it sticks, you're fine, but you'll have to keep your finger down there while you clean. The beautiful thing about these is that little cover usually prevents a lot of the crap from getting in there in the first place. So I don't know why some Atari games have this and some don't. Probably a money issue. They probably discontinued it or something at some point, thinking, it's costing too much money to create that spring piece. But yeah, so that's just for Atari only. I don't know any other systems that have a cartridge cover like that. Maybe there are. If you know, let me know. So yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much what I do every time I buy a new cartridge. And if I buy it at a flea market or from wherever, from eBay, I will do that. I'll clean it before I stick it into the system, because you just don't want to transfer any crap that's in there, and make things worse, because then you're going to go and stick another cartridge in there, and then that cartridge gets dirty, and it just creates a chain reaction. You just don't want that. And with Nintendo, same thing. Instead of blowing on it, just take a Q-tip, a little bit of alcohol, rub it up down the board, put it in. It'll probably work right away. Anyways, hope you learned something. I mean, there's a lot of ways of doing this, I'm sure, and there's just so many options out there, and sometimes the cartridge just can't be cleaned. It's just an internal problem, so always be wary of that. Yeah, so hope you liked the video. So hopefully my next video, or if not the next one, the one after that, or after that, I'm going to be doing Chuck Norris. Anyways, talk to you later.